Why is it not that bad?
It's not that bad. It isn't. I got the beer first. I got the chocolate milk second.
Beer's on top.
Yours is separated a little bit.
Mine's a little separated, but I got the beer first and chocolate milk second. It was a good aftertaste.
All right, I'm just going to go out on a limb. Like, anything you put with Busch Light is good.
There is a podcast in Iowa, Farm4Profit was named by they. Fate stirred up a banker near, then quick came an auctioneer. Making profit was their first goal, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. These formats shook us to our core. With Farm4Fun, you will not snore. The banker set all mics to on, and the mullet of podcasts was born. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. Before we knew, conversations grew. Growing corn even said F you. So won't you join Tenor, Dave, Corey, and crew? Please like, share, review. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go.
Welcome back to the Farm4Profit podcast. This is Tanner Winterhoff.
This is Corey Hillebow.
And this is David Whitaker.
And that was a ice cold Busch Light.
It didn't sound that crisp, though. I think you messed up the opening.
I was going to say.
I need to open one. Let me see if I can.
The opening of the can?
Oh, that was better. That was better.
This is a Farm4Fun episode. Yes. Farm4Fun episode. You know that because we just opened 2 Busch Lights. But welcome. We are the Farm4Profit podcast. This is a Thursday when this episode gets released. The next one you're going to come across is called a Profit Show. We don't open any beers on the Profit Shows, but that doesn't mean they aren't any less fun. We focus on a topic to help your farm achieve higher levels of profitability. And here we're going to talk to a person who you might gain the same type of input from as far as that goes. So
we love you guys to suggest guests, and we also love you guys to review us. You can send both of those, Farm4Profit LLC at gmail.com, or you can review us on any of the podcast platform, or now you can text or leave us a voicemail, 515-207-9640. Today's listener review is brought to you by Gearinghoff, head of the class, no matter the crop. Who has our review today, Dave?
That is NC, North Carolina, I assume. Haymaker. Hey, guys, love the show. Lots of time in the tractor and semi during hay season, and I have binged, listened to a bunch of the episodes. Thanks for doing that. Keep up the good work. Cheers.
have you guys noticed that almost all of these end with keep up the good work?
It's a good trend.
It's a great trend.
Yeah.
I love it. And this was on Apple Podcasts, so this is the one that scored. This is a scoring review.
Oh, good. 5 stars.
This one counts.
Oh,
Text reviews don't get scored.
maybe Mama Winterhoff should keep that. How many stars? You should text them back when they. How many stars was that?
I should. Remember, you can review us on all social media or on all publishing platforms, or you can send us a voicemail, 515-207-9640. Tell us why you listen to Farm4Profit. But that's about enough of the announcements for today. You guys are rocking and rolling. We got a good hot summer here in Iowa.
It's all good. Oh, well, it's almost that. Today on the Farm4Fun show, we are staying in the northwest corner of the country to visit with an old friend. He's a writer, a thinker, a professional speaker, a dairy farmer, and an ag Twitter OG. But I think he does some of his best work in the wee hours of the morning on a live or a call with @Snarkosaurus. He is Mr. Dwayne Faber at DFaber84.
All right. That's right. Twitter
Thank you.
OG.
He is.
What
Yes.
an intro.
How do you get 40-some thousand followers on Twitter? Like, that's crazy. How much did it cost?
How much did it cost? You just keep posting stuff, and then, like Elon Musk said, 3 out of 5 are bots. So it's easy to get there when they're 70% bots.
You become the original gangster.
The bots are interesting, that's for sure. Shoot. What's going on, Dwayne?
Can you interact with a bot? Sometimes.
Oh, I don't know. It helps. It helps the self-esteem, right? I mean, they're all looking for young men, single young men, and they think I'm attractive, so that always is a good boost for the morale. And so I'm just gonna keep encouraging it.
What's up, man? What are you doing? I pulled that right off your website. I wanted to say he's a writer, he's a thinker, and a stinker.
Little SNL reference.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
Thinker
it.
or the stinker. Yeah.
Now I'm actually down in Oregon, so we're at South Missile Command here. So about a year and a half ago, I bought a dairy down in Oregon, and so I come down a couple times a week to check up on things down here and make sure everything's going well. So
How far of a drive is that?
it's about 3.5 hours.
Oh.
So it's east of Astoria, Oregon. It's kind of actually, if you look at the map of Oregon in the top left, there's a little nipple that projects into the Columbia River, and I own the nipple. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Love nipples. Or teats, I get what I mean.
That's true.
Yeah, right.
There's a shirt for you,
Yeah.
Dave.
Speaking of cows, what kind of cows do you have? No, just kidding.
Gosh. No, it's what was it? It was about a year and a half ago. They had put in a quota system or a base system up by us at the co-op that I was up in Washington, and more of these cooperatives now are starting to establish quota and base because there's so much overproduction, and it's turning into quite an asset where access to the processing facilities has become something that you can buy and sell and trade. And for us out there, especially in Western Washington, we're a little bit limited on how much we can grow. And there's a saying that you either need to be selling stuff by the tons or you need to be selling stuff by the ounces. I didn't quite want to jump into the marijuana game yet. And so I said, well, what's the area where we can sell a higher value product? And there's a co-op just south of us in Tillamook. It's actually really well known. They've got a great product portfolio, and they pay their farmers really well. Decided to sell the one dairy up there and then move the cows and the equity down to Oregon. So we've got the second place down there now.
So your new dairy down south is Tillamook Dairy?
That is correct. Yep. We ship to Tillamook, and we're member owners of the brand Tillamook.
My wife and my mother-in-law got super excited when our grocery store here started carrying Tillamook products.
Oh, very good. What's their favorite product? Are they the cheese? The cheese kind of what?
Yes.
Yeah, cheese gets them in the door. But
What's your favorite Tillamook product?
I'm a fat kid, and fat kids like ice cream, so I like all the ice cream.
I tell people all the time, if my wife could set aside a food group, that's what she would set aside. Is ice cream as one of the essential food groups.
I think
Certainly should command most of your dairy pyramid or portion of it, right?
You're right.
And I think when you said this, so this is basically giving you more access to the market with both dairies?
That's correct. Yeah. So Tillamook, they actually pay their farmers a consistent milk price. And so you're a little more immune to the oscillations of just the commodity market. And they've got a pretty strong dividend that all the profits that they make, they distribute to their shareholders, to their members. And so it allows you to basically milk 700-800 cows and still be profitable. And the dairy industry is kind of going the way of chickens and hogs, where you have to have mass scale and a massive land base in order to be competitive. And Tillamook allows you to kind of maintain those smaller numbers and still be profitable.
Is your dairy up north Tillamook too, or not?
It is not. So I kept one dairy going up in Washington. So we still milk about 1,000 cows up there. And I had shut one dairy down up there in order to buy the dairy down here. And so we still have one up there and one down here now.
Was it 2020? You guys were all kind of the milk dumping was all over social media?
It was. Yeah, that was kind of a crazy time, similar to like the tomato industry, where all of a sudden restaurants weren't buying tomatoes or McDonald's wasn't buying tomatoes, and you had this demand for different products. Well, we had the similar issue in the dairy industry, where a lot of production was geared up towards restaurants and supplying restaurants. And then overnight, there was a massive shift into consumption at the grocery store. And we just couldn't keep up with that demand and that shift. It was actually too great. And it actually benefited. There were some winners and losers through that all. And one of the beneficiaries of that was the Tillamook brand, as something like 70-80% of the total milk from the co-op goes into retail. And so they had a huge boom. And a lot of these other cheese manufacturers, these smaller scale ones, were really struggling as they were geared up to sell into restaurants.
I think that same thing happened with the pork industry with bacon, so pork bellies, because so much bacon goes into the food service. I mean, if you think about it, like every hotel has a pot full of bacon for you in the morning and all
true.
that. And so like that same thing. I mean, obviously you can't dump pigs, so then they had to actually, kill some pigs or euthanize some pigs, which wasn't fun. But man, that 2020 really messed some things up. But like you said, good things come out of it.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, I was talking to a guy that was in the toilet paper industry, and that was the natural progression of questioning was, well, what happened in 2020 with COVID? And something similar happened there, where a certain percentage of toilet paper is manufactured and geared for travelers, for hotels and for airports. And a lot of that is made to a different standard than the toilet paper that's sold in grocery stores.
Sandpaper.
Well, all of a sudden that demand dried up, literally. And then they had to try and catch up with the grocery store demand, and they just couldn't make that shift quick enough.
Instead of just one ply, they had to wrap it 4 more times to get to the grocery store ply.
I have seen that where people rebale. What is it, Virid, where they rebale silage or rebale bales into smaller bales. Yeah, you just see a roll of industrial bank toilet paper that is all getting rolled into a new roll, which is 4 layers
Stitching
thick.
it into some quilts, little quilted. Yeah.
That's why you never shake hands with a Dutchman. They only buy single ply.
Yeah. We just got snowmobiling up in Wisconsin, and they always hated all the bar owners up there. You'd go bar hopping, and they always hated the what's the skiing that you do on flat surfaces?
Cross country
skiing. And they hated it when the cross country skiers would come in, because they would literally just get water, they wouldn't buy any drinks, and they would ask for ketchup packets, and they would make tomato soup out of ketchup packets and water. And then when they always joked, when they went in the toilet, they would split the 2-ply into 1-ply because they were that tight.
That is not where I thought that was going.
I was wondering. It just kept on.
So when you're out there on your dairies, are you able to grow all the forages and feedstuffs necessary, or do you guys have to source those elsewise?
So we grow about 50% of their diet is grass and corn silage. And so we grow all of our grass and corn silage, and then we bring in some alfalfa hay, and then all of our concentrates, the corn and soybean meal. We feed some wheat distillers, feed a little corn distillers. Most of our concentrates come out of the Dakotas. And we try and grow as much forage as we can, and then maximize the amount of forage that we put into the animal.
Nice.
So that's probably coming in on a rail out of the Dakotas.
It would be. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, and so we're getting smashed. I mean, basis has just exploded out here, and yeah, all the same rail issues that everyone else is experiencing. It hit us pretty hard too.
Yeah, so we're recording this here on the 18th of July. President Biden just stepped in, what was that, Friday night or Saturday, to keep those rail workers from going on strike, which I think probably would have caused a lot of headaches for you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was wild. And actually, we get a lot of canola out of Canada, and then we had some terrible flooding this past winter and spring, and the railway into Vancouver, British Columbia was actually washed away. And so we were having to truck canola down through eastern Washington, over the mountains and into western Washington. And there were people that actually ran out of feed. It just got so tight. And that disruption actually really, really hurt us as well for about 3-4 weeks. It was a struggle to even find grain, and we're adjusting rations to to try and get everything dialed in and use what was readily available.
Wow.
So on your dairies, are you feeding, when you talked about ration, are you have robots feeding the ration? You coming up with the ration, managing all that?
So we hire people smarter than us. And so I've got a specialized nutritionist that will come in and we'll take feed samples on every individual feed stuff, and then we'll adjust it accordingly. And so the biggest thing is making sure like the protein levels, if they're high or low in the corn silage or grass silage, and then adjusting our typically soybean meal or canola to make up for those shortcomings. And so we have somebody that comes in and tells us what to feed, and then we've got a recipe that we apply on farm and use a mixer box to make a total mixed ration. And yeah, the cows actually eat better than most of us farmers do. So as we're sitting there eating ice cream and Oreos, every feed stuff they eat is tested and dialed in.
You think if a cow eats Oreos, that's how you get chocolate milk?
Ooh, those are the brown cows.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the
Brown cows.
Jerseys.
Jerseys.
I think you were asking, have you guys ever used the Laylee robot feeding system?
That's what I was thinking about.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah, those are out and available. Their application is typically for a much smaller dairy, like 50 cows, and it's typically for an indoor tie stall type setup, which would be like 50, 75 cows.
Okay.
It's just too small for large scale operations. Laylee does make a good milking robot, so we're starting to see those around here. But yeah, no, it's kind of fun where technology is going on all that.
So we had Iowa
dairy farmer
Dan on, and he was using that, and they had the claw that would get and mix and all that all day long, just fed. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
All right, let's take a quick pause here. We are going to enjoy a Busch Light in a little different fashion. So thanks to Busch Light for being the proud beer of the Farm for Profit podcast. And thanks to Mike Burkhart and Travis Burkhart.
Yep.
For unknowingly sharing this idea with us. So, Faber, we've been mixing some weird stuff with beer already, and this is by far, in my opinion, the weirdest. I just poured a little bit of chocolate milk into the Busch Light. Have you ever had beer with chocolate milk?
I haven't, but anything that aids in commercial disappearance, I'm a fan of. So I fully endorse it.
So this is brown cow juice and corn juice. God dang it. Why is it not that bad?
It's not that bad. It isn't. I got the beer first. I got the chocolate milk second.
Beer's on top.
Yours is separated a little bit.
Mine's a little separated, but I got the beer first and chocolate milk second. It was a good aftertaste.
All right, I'm just going to go out on a limb. Like, anything you put with Busch Light is good.
Wow.
What are you going to call it? I like the drunken brown cow, something like that.
there you
Drunken
go.
cow.
Now, brown cow.
I'm trying to describe what this is, because I don't think it would be the same if you just put chocolate syrup in a Busch Light.
No. Be too thick.
You got to have this is the creamy, man. This is going to be one you're going to have to try.
We should have had.
It's like a chocolate Russian.
This should be some. Oh, there you go.
That's right.
This should be Tillamook, but it's not.
It should. I didn't do that much research.
It's our local dairy here.
It's still dairy.
I love their cottage cheese, though.
Just wait till we do our second one. I got an idea for the second beer tasting of this
So
episode.
the next one is your idea?
Yeah, it was my idea.
Okay.
So
Which
Corey
means it's not going to be a good idea.
opened up and said, "You're a writer? I don't know anything about your writing. Tell me more."
So through Twitter, I was asked to speak at a couple smaller local events, and I found out that I loved the stage. There's something fun about being in front of a group of people and just getting that vibe back and forth. And I really don't have time for it, and my wife has kind of limited how much I do of that. But in another life, or maybe post farming, it'd be fun to develop that more. And so then I started just a website, and I haven't updated it like I should. But Twitter to me is also a medium where if you appreciate the written word, I find it lends itself to that. And so it was natural to start putting out a few articles and writing some stuff. So that's about the extent of it. I haven't gone more than that, but I enjoy writing, and I enjoy putting words together in that thought process.
Which up until how long ago did they switch? What was their max characters? 90? 100?
144 is what they switched to.
No, now it's 250, isn't it?
Yeah, it went from 140 to 280, I believe.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
which is actually, it's good, right? Like that exercise to make you condense an idea. And actually joke writing is mostly trying to condense an idea into short form. And it's actually an interesting process to go through that, to try and limit how many words you use.
So would you say then your use of your Twitter platform makes you an advocate?
No, I'm just a regular guy having fun who happens to be a farmer, and I don't put myself out there to try and convert anybody or, I really don't like the term. I feel like the term's kind of been bastardized a little bit, but I figure my thought was start with the platform first, and then if you have a big enough following, and if a story does come out, then you've got an audience where you can kind of be viewed as knowledgeable, but also a little bit impartial. And so that's kind of the way I viewed it, is just have fun with it and go from there. But there's some people that do a really great job with it, but it's not me.
So that when he said condensing words down in a tweet, it got me thinking, how do you guys first write it out in like full form and then like go over by 30 characters and then go back and make with a W/ and cut out some spaces, or do you do it all first?
So I honestly don't have thoughts that are that long. I mean, I'm not a great Twitter poster to anyway. I would say where I run into more of an issue is getting said what I want said in a TikTok before they gave you the 3-minute option. But even then I try to keep it short because we know 3-minute.
I don't ever post a 3-minute TikTok.
Right. Don't do well. So even that's difficult to verbalize. Probably harder than to type and delete and go back.
I'm typically type it all out and then go back and shorten it up.
I actually took a class once on joke writing, and that's what they'll do. They'll say, okay, take a story and then cut it in half. So what words are you going to take out? Ending a joke on a hard sound typically is something that they advise people to do when you get into comedy. But it really truly is about having these short ideas and short thoughts. But
I joke that I'm a ag comedy trader on my TikTok, or not TikTok, my Twitter profile.
That's your trader? Yeah.
It's not commodity, it's comedy. Because I like to see the funny side of things, right? Like everyone's Snark Spaces, they're all getting like in depth on trading and world's coming to an end and all this, and I'm just like I just want to laugh, guys.
Yeah, and then you get asked to go do comedian type performances.
I did one time, and I'm like, I don't think I'm ready for that.
That's funny.
So all the kids have moved to TikTok, though, haven't they? That's kind of where all the cool kids.
That's
are
where
now.
it's at. Why aren't you over there yet?
Oh goodness, I don't know that I can make it. I'm not good looking enough for that. So
you don't have to put yourself on there. I mean, Huey Be Cool has like 1.7 million followers, and all his TikToks was never of him. Really, it was just dairy cattle.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
What's the other one? The West Virginia or down that direction? TR.
Oh yeah, TR
Jones.
Jones. Yep. Yeah, so there's some big dairy TikTokers that you should come over, dabble in the platform a little bit.
Oh yeah, that Iowa kid, he does really well. I like his stuff.
And Dan,
so he's really good. Yeah, he's big on TikTok too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty big. Yeah, he was just on Shark Farmer.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What's the story on the Midwest crop? Is everything burning up, or God's gift to the corn world, Iowa? It's raining and everything looks good out there.
You log into Twitter every morning, and someone's in a major drought, and someone's just got a $1 million rain. I think mostly, like here in Iowa, looks pretty good. We've got some real good soils.
I think so. I think
Northwest gets a little dry.
I think the biggest issue we've got right now is we got planted so late, and we're pollinating, getting ready to start pollinating.
Yeah, tassels are just starting to shoot out, and we're in the doom of dome, or the dome of doom, whatever they're calling it.
Their trademark it. CNN's going to want that.
Yeah, 99 degrees for a week straight, and no relief and no rain in the outlook. So everyone's whining about that. But honestly, in our little area here, we were too wet all spring, so we're probably good.
How about the crops out your way? Have you guys been getting enough rain?
Oh, it's been miserable. So we had a terrible spring too. So for us, I mean, I planted corn in April and it didn't come up for 3 weeks. And so I was worried that it was going to drown out, but it fortunately still did pop out. It got going and it looks really good now. But there was a lot of late planting out here on the west side of the state. Just wet, miserable. So it's, yeah, certainly going to be reduced yields out here. And yet most everything out here is silage corn, not necessarily going into any grain or anything. But
So when you're talking reduced yields, you're reduced tonnage.
correct. Yeah, exactly. So we'll get 32 to 27 ton to the acre. Sometimes 25. We can get down to that, but we try and get up to 30s. We harvest a little wetter, so we're probably 30% dry matter when we harvest. So.
And is that a dairy thing or is that a region thing?
It's definitely a region thing. Yeah, I think they do harvest a little wetter out your way. Yeah, no, I think they do. Yeah.
I was going to say, I thought there was more. I've never harvested silage myself, so I thought it was more like 40 to 50%.
50% you would start getting into issues where it wouldn't ensile properly.
Mm-hmm.
So 40, 35 to 40 is probably more typical.
My in-laws have a fat cattle feedlot, and I've never been around silage, but I've been around earlage. So just a little bit different there.
It's the same process, right?
Well, you run an actual corn head like you'd see on the front of a combine instead of a silage head, because all you're taking is what would go into your corn head. So some leaves, but mainly the ear, the cob, the husk, and that's what you're grinding up.
What
affectionately known as the stripper head, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a regular corn head,
but it strips
would strip the ear off. Yep.
What percent moisture is that?
You just get beyond black layer,
so like 34, 35%. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And why do they do that over a whole silage?
Just my understanding is limited, but I don't think you need the additional roughage
for the finishing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only so much forage or roughage that can go through the cow, and so you can feed a certain percentage of that, but then after that you need a more concentrated form of energy. And so with that, you're able to essentially have corn silage and corn grain and eliminate a need for bringing in a whole bunch of corn grain from an outside source.
Yeah. So I liked on your website that it says, what's in Dwayne's brain? Which, by the way, how many times do people spell your name Dwayne wrong?
All the time. Yeah, there's actually several ways. There's D-U-A-N-E, D-U-A-N-N-E. There's D-E, Wayne. So there's several, but it's D-W is D-W-A-Y-N-E.
So my dad spells it. I like it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
He sounds delightful.
Sounds delightful. He always says Dwayne when he spells it to people. It's Dwayne, but spell it Dwayne.
So when you were a kid in school and you had classmates around you, was any of them playing the Do, Marry, Kill game?
Ooh, don't know that one at all.
Oh, you don't know that one? Did you ever do the MASH game where you spelled out M-A-S-H? Maybe I'm dating myself here.
You're old.
Yeah. Is that the mansion apartment shack house game?
Yes, that
okay.
one,
Yeah. That's right.
So the Do, Marry, Kill is like they'd come up to you and they'd pick three of your classmates and they'd say Susie and Mary and Elizabeth, and then you'd have to pick which one would you do, which one would you marry, and which one would you kill.
Oh.
And you'd go that route. So I want to get into Dwayne's brain here.
Okay.
And maybe do a little bit of an offshoot. We won't kill anybody off on this podcast, but what if we did invest in, be the CEO of, and run out of business?
Or shut their business down, yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
Great game. I love this.
Let's start with let's do an easy one. Equipment manufacturers. Let's do, who should we do? John Deere, Case New Holland. Who should be the third one?
AGCO?
Go AGCO? I don't know what you guys got out there for availability to equipment. Let's do that. What's Dwayne's invest in, become the CEO of, and shut the other one down?
Ooh. So we were AGCO, John Deere, and what?
Case New Holland.
Case.
John Deere and Case. I'm just gonna like distance myself and separate myself from half of the Midwest by choosing these probably. Invest in. I feel like John Deere is priced out of the market right now. I feel like their PE ratio is pretty high. So I would probably invest in Case. I think there's more value in Case. And long term, that's probably the place to be, especially as we start heading into a downturn.
Their stock's
So
certainly cheaper.
It is, yeah. So as we head into $5 corn again, I think that's probably the invest in. CEO in would definitely be John Deere, just because I feel like that'd be a pretty easy gig. It feels like we'd be CEO of Victoria's Secret. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of work doing that. And then AGCO, sorry, it sounds like that one's going by the wayside.
See, the way you started off with your analysis, I thought you would shut John Deere down, so then your investment in Case New Holland would skyrocket. At the same time, you're the CEO of AGCO.
Oh, that's a brilliant move. That's the one. That's the play we needed.
You thought about this because you came up with it.
No, I didn't until that's where I thought he was going. Okay. I thought that's where Dwayne's brain was going.
Yep.
Wow, that's probably why I'm not CEO, right? I would have done that immediately.
Oh, that's pretty good. What? Let's see here. I'm trying to think.
Do the beer.
That's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Do the beer one.
Anheuser-Busch, Miller Coors, or Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Ooh. So my nickname with a few people, I took over a dairy farm, and the guy's last name was Miller, and he was fairly heavy set. And so my nickname affectionately became known as Miller Lite. And so I feel like I would have to be Miller Lite, the CEO of Miller Coors. As far as an investment goes, I'm going to go Pabst Blue Ribbon, a little smaller market cap, a little bit nostalgia. Budweiser, I feel like, is a little bit of a fading star. The small branded beers are kicking their butt and pushing them to the wayside. So I think we'd invest in Pabst, and we'd shut down Budweiser.
Nice.
So
that's good. That's good. Okay, so we're gonna start one last one, and Corey's gonna introduce it because I can't read his handwriting.
Bayer, Syngenta, and Corteva.
Bayer, Syngenta, Corteva.
None of these are sponsors yet, so you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
We can totally trash them.
Yeah.
Oh, I think being CEO of Bayer would be the most fun. I think riding the glyphosate train would be a little interesting, seeing the inside of that. And I've bought Syngenta products in the past. I'm going to invest in them. And sorry, Corteva, you're getting kicked to the curb. We're going to sell Corteva.
Would you have done the same, Corey?
Ooh, I would probably. Ooh, that is tough. Okay.
Isn't it? Yes.
I would shut Syngenta down because it's foreign owned, and I would invest in Bayer and be CEO of
Run Corteva.
Yeah.
All right. All right, one last one.
I thought you said that was the last one.
I know. Then I changed my mind. We're going to go do a do, marry, kill.
Okay.
Jennifer Aniston, Halle Berry, Angelina Jolie.
Sorry, Jen from Friends. You got to go the distance with her.
Yeah.
You got to go.
Yeah,
she's rocking it, taking care of herself. We're gonna marry her. Halle, we can do that. That one will go. And Angelina, sorry, it's
That's exactly.
little too crazy town.
Yeah.
Little too crazy town. That's not my jam.
I don't know.
That's mine.
I think I'd
you-
agree.
I think you could probably swap. I mean, if you're just doing her, just Halle and
Yeah.
Tomb Raider.
Nobody saw that coming on a Farm for Fun episode.
No, especially out of you.
Doesn't somebody's mom listen to this?
That's my mom. Yep.
She's gonna be impressed.
Sorry, Mom.
All you and your boys just fornicating away out there.
It's all for the content.
I got one for you guys.
Okay.
I got one for you guys. Invest, CEO, sell. We're going to go commodities, dairy, corn, and since we're in Washington State, marijuana.
Ooh.
God dang.
I'll go first. I think I'm investing in corn. I'm going to be the CEO of marijuana, and I'm shutting dairy down because I don't think I could be CEO of, and it makes me nervous as hell to invest in it.
There we go. That's good.
You can't really have dairy without corn, right? You have to have some sort of corn, or what would your offset be?
You've killed all the cows off. There's no more corn market.
No,
Your
he's
investment
saying
in
the
corn
opposite
just-
way. He's saying if he shuts corn down, how do you have dairy?
Yeah.
Oh. Then we're feeding a whole bunch of forage, and milk production goes down.
Yeah. See, I want to invest in weed because it's clear that like no one's stopping it anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't kill corn because it feeds the cows. So I guess I'll have to kill weed because that just makes you happy. You don't need it to live, and you don't need it for cows. So I am going to be the CEO of corn because I do not want to deal with people that are milking 3 times a day, and I'll invest in the dairy.
That's funny. That's a good one.
Great exercise.
Yeah,
Great
it
exercise.
was.
All right, let's take one last beer break here before we get to the last
I don't even know
chapter
if you can call this beer.
of this conversation. So, Busch Light, again, proud partner of the Farm for Profit podcast, the exclusive beer partner of Farm for Profit, started off in this cup with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and we made ourselves a Busch Light float.
A bush float.
The ice cream's fantastic.
Oh my god, it's damn good too.
Oh my! I am going to do
And
this.
it is the consistency of like a milkshake. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard right here.
I have never.
you put it
I don't
in
know if
there.
I've had anything that tastes this good in my
I
life.
just, oops.
Oh, you're going to have to try this, Faber.
What ice cream is it?
It is Blue Bunny homemade vanilla ice cream.
Okay.
So coming from the wells,
That's kind of a local Iowa brand.
Lamar-
isn't it?
Lamar's,
Blue Bunny?
Iowa.
Yeah.
Ice cream capital of the world.
There we go.
We had Anderson
There we go.
Erickson Dairy Milk, so another local dairy. And then we got Blue Bunny vanilla ice
Wasn't
cream.
it Blue Bunny that did the candy?
The Palmer
Bing?
the Palmer Candy Company is also in Lamar's,
Okay.
and then they partnered together to make the Twin Bang ice cream.
Have you ever heard of or had a twin Bing, Dwayne?
No, I may have partied one time with the heiress of somebody in Iowa. What's the sour candy? I feel like there's a sour candy mobile in Iowa
Trolley?
too.
Was that in Creston?
Yeah, could
Sour
be. No,
Patch
it was
Kids?
in it was in Pella.
Oh, that could have been.
Oh, maybe a Pilla candy.
But I
Yeah,
feel
I'm
like
not
Trolley
sure.
was in. Oh, man, it could be down there. I thought it was Creston or something. Candy from Tanner's Googling really fast.
Did Blue Bunny have the listeria outbreak? I feel like they did. Not that I'm sure they're 100% safe now, and everybody should eat all the dairy products. But I think at one time they did.
They could have. I haven't heard anything about it. I don't. I don't pay much attention to that kind of stuff. I probably should.
I figure they're going to remove it from the grocery store before it gets to me.
The biggest thing.
Warheads.
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 Those were big back in my day.
I've had them. They're good.
Yes, I feel like that. I think.
Those-
I
those
feel
are
like there's an
ultimate.
Iowa connection to Warhead.
Those are ultimate pucker factor.
It says located in Janesville, Wisconsin. Iowa, Wisconsin, about the same thing.
Oh,
They touch.
they're about the same. About the same.
The biggest thing off the shelves right now is all the dang peanut butter. Was it?
We can't get peanut butter?
No, was it Jif or one of the big ones? They pulled all their stuff because they had E. coli or something.
I must not shop enough.
Dave's got people that shop for him.
I guess.
That's pretty
Some
good.
people.
Kind of like
I'm
with
curious. The bank guy interest rates going. Are we we're bumping up another percent, or the last CPI number didn't help us? They're just going to keep rolling that up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. If you would have asked 40 days ago, everybody would have said there's 2.5% hikes ahead of you, and then all of a sudden, within the
It
last
dropped.
within the 4 days leading up to that last Fed meeting, they all of a sudden headlines go to 0.75%, and now the expectation is for 2 more 0.75% hikes. So meeting next week, I think it's next week. It's either the end of this week or next week. looking at another 0.75%, but now all of a sudden there's rumors of a full percent hike.
I heard that.
So certainly trying to curb it. I mean, you're right. Inflation numbers are still soaring. Everything that they have preached about for the last 2.5, 3 years about items they're going to look for before raising rates are pointed in favor of let's just keep climbing. No longer are we going to get to a soft landing. It's going to be a hard one.
Just take it. Am I right in saying that I might have gotten 2 rate hikes in 1 month?
Yeah.
Like I swear I got 2 letters of like, oh, your rate's going up before I got my next statement.
So the Fed didn't meet twice in 1 month, but your bank could have done it in 2 months, twice in a month.
Yeah. This is during planting season, so like I didn't even know what day of the week it was, let alone month, so it sucked.
Yeah.
I thought you would have had it all fixed at 2.5.
My house, but yeah, not everything else.
Yeah.
You know, they won't fix the, what is it, your operating
notes?
Yeah.
No, that's right. It's been the right decision for 10, 15 years to not lock anything in. And now for the first time, it's rebounding, just still a small blip on the radar.
So I did a small exercise because my wife and I actually live in town, but we farm. We'd love to live out on acreage, but we're so close to the metro that acreages are just, for like 5 acres ground, bare ground, no house, or a crappy house that needs bulldoze, it's like $300,000 around here. And so I did, we're locked in at 2.25%. And if you were to go say a $500,000 mortgage, the heck is it? Like over $1,000 more a month in interest from my 2.25 to what is it now? 6%, 5.75.
$100 a month for every 100,000 at 1% interest hike.
It's just nuts.
Yep.
And that's just the increase. So like, do you feel like giving away that much money in interest every month? I don't. We're going to stay where we're at.
Yeah, I don't either.
If Tanner would just give me a better rate, a little backdoor rate. Come on now.
That's illegal. I can't do that.
It's frowned upon.
That's true. Maybe not.
I mean, you're going to make money, just not as much.
So do the feds control interest rates? They don't control Bitcoin. Is there like a non-denominational currency that there is no interest rate, or that you could just set it because you're your own? Could you make cryptocurrency and loan it out?
Yeah.
But a bank's not going to.
They tried doing that, and they're all bankrupt.
I was just going to say.
Didn't 3AC, weren't they the ones that were doing that?
Yep. So
Paying interest on crypto, and now they're bankrupt?
I was just going to say that, and took a lot of investors down with them. So
really?
You can. It's just risky, and sometimes the risk doesn't outweigh the reward. I mean, those CEOs got paid really well for a short while, and now they don't have a company anymore.
It's like the government decided to up interest rates, so now the whole world is affected by it.
So the Fed is meeting, which then creates a hike in the overnight borrowings, which is what banks use the Fed for, is if we're short overnight to meet our ratios, we have to borrow in order to stay within regulatory limits. So if every bank is set up differently, all their balance sheet makeups are 100% different, it will affect banks at a different level if they're highly liquid. Like, for example, the one I work at right now is highly liquid. Will it stop us from raising our rates? Unfortunately not, because this is an opportunity to make more revenue.
The Do, Marry, Kill game was way more fun than this. Hey, this is a fun show.
Why is the U.S. dollar at all-time highs? Who is buying it? Are we buying it to drive it up, or is somebody else?
I truly think it's somebody else, and I think it's a stability factor right now. If you look at who's involved with the most fallout from the Russia-Ukraine issue and Chinese-Taiwan conversations, I feel like as a player in the world, the U.S. still is, out of this group of countries, is the ones that still have most their shit together. And
even with all the inflation and...
We do, but there's inflation even higher. The Sri Lankan government is completely basically shut down and bankrupt because they can't control inflation. You talk about other areas of the world, everybody's experiencing inflation. I would say partially due to how much money we printed, like Dwayne just said, because Americans buy worldly goods. And if we have money to spend, the rest of the goods continue to go up. I mean, that's maybe my small-minded view on things.
It does seem like people have just a crap ton of cash on hand. And I don't know where that came from.
I think in my last couple of weeks to my wife, I've said, where do they get the money to do that? Making observations of others, as I shouldn't, but I do.
Yeah.
Like, how are they doing this?
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Oh, do you think that there's still a lot of money sloshing through the system from stimulus or no?
Oh, yeah, I would say. I mean, any dollar that my wife and I received, we didn't use, we saved. And now if you hit your savings goals or you're more comfortable, you're maybe more apt to spend other dollars that you've earned since then because your safety net is there. There's a lot of dollars been given out in the ag community. Maybe not undeserved, but certainly given out.
Maybe not deserved.
Or maybe not deserved either. I do. I think there's a lot of cash. I mean, I've had this conversation on the podcast many a times that the banks that I have participated in or know and have balance sheet knowledge of is they're sitting on more cash now than they ever have had. And the only reason they do that is because the people that have checking and savings accounts there have more cash than they've ever had. It's not just because more people are choosing to bank with us. That's true also, but in proportionate, they have higher balances.
Crazy. Well,
we're getting deep for a Farm for Fun show.
This is real deep. You killed the tone. Killed the tone. Dwayne, what do you got going in the future? Where do you think things are going to go here?
As far as the economy goes, or myself personally?
Oh, let's just go yourself. Like what's next for Dwayne and the dairy and comedy?
Yeah, you bet. I have to make a decision on if I continue dairying in Washington or if I just concentrate everything in Oregon. And Tillamook certainly seems to be the future. And so I have to decide whether to shut that one down and then expand down here. I got approval potentially to expand down here and grow down here. But yeah, you're also fighting the increased costs on building right now. So now's probably not quite the time to do it. But that's kind of the big decision facing us at the moment.
So when you say shut one down, like you shut it down completely, or do you sell it off, or is it once you're done, it's done?
Yeah, correct. So the dairy I have up in Western Washington is leased, and so I have the option to get out at any time. Okay. And it's currently month to month, and there's really no pressure. Just the economics of the dairy industry in our area are pretty tough, and so there's not a lot of people that are looking to get back into that place. There's been mass concentration. You know, it used to be the dairy that milked 100 cows went out of business, and 300 cows, while now your 800 to 1,000 cow herd size are going by the wayside, and we're starting to see that in our area. So yeah, at some point it'll make sense to just concentrate everything down in Oregon and go all in on Tillamook.
Okay. So I don't think we asked, did you grow up on a dairy farm? If you lease this farm, I mean, did you have one when you were growing up? Okay.
Yeah. I grew up on a 250 cow dairy, and then I went to college in California. There was a 2-year ag school I went to down there, and then came back to the dairy. I recognized that we needed to grow and expand, and so I went out on my own on a leased facility and slowly built it up. And then I bought my dad's cows, and he sold his property and semi-retired. What is it? Seagull management just kind of flies in and shits on everything and tells me what I'm doing wrong. Yeah. So yeah, it's, but no, I've got a great relationship with my dad and work with him, and he helps out. And
so that's different than a helicopter mom.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of things flying, huh? So no, I went out on my own, rented that dairy, grew that one to 900, 1,000 cows, and then in 2016 took on another dairy, leased that one, built that up to 1,000 cows, and end of 2019, early 2020, I shut the one dairy down and bought the dairy down in Oregon. Yeah, now potentially have the opportunity to shut the second one down and then concentrate everything on the one down here.
Huh.
So
that's interesting. I've never heard that concept of leasing a dairy. Maybe that's a profit show there for you, Tanner.
Yeah. Could you lease out your farm?
Yeah. No one would want it. It's kind of probably
Is
like,
that it?
go ahead.
Isn't that common in hogs where you lease the barn and then the corporation owns the pigs? Is that right? Or
So the way that we do it now is we own the barns, own the property, and then we're contract finished. So we get paid X amount per space, per how many pigs you can put in that barn per year. And so there is, I think they call it a triple net lease.
Yep.
Where you own the property and then you're like hands off. You maybe take care of the maintenance and stuff, but then the company has their own pigs and their own labor and all that. And that would be awesome to work towards, but I don't think they do that very much anymore. It's just so hard to find labor. So the companies rather just have you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, even for land, well, and you guys, I'm sure, have had that discussion, right? I mean, the cash return on land is pretty tough, right? I mean, it takes a lot to make that pencil. And same thing with the dairy, where leasing the facility and putting your assets into dairy cows, get those dollars turning over quicker and turning over faster. And for me, it worked out well because in that meantime, they had implemented a quota system which had value, and then we were able to kind of capitalize on that value.
That could be a whole nother show.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, Mr. Faber, we ask all of our guests the same question as we wrap up. What is some of the best advice you have ever been given? So while you think about that, listeners, remember, you can reach out to us by sending us a call or sending us a text or leaving us a voicemail by calling 515-207-9640. Send us an email, farm4profitllc@gmail.com, or leave us a review back on your favorite platform that you listen to podcasts from. And don't forget, if you're coming to Farm Progress Show 2022, Boone, Iowa, come find us, Sukup Manufacturing booth in the morning, John Deere in the afternoon. And stay tuned for a potential after party where we can drink some chocolate milk Busch Lights or have some Busch Light beer floats with you.
That'd be good.
So what do you think, Faber? What is the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice ever received was somebody that said at the end of their life, most people look back on their life and they have regrets of omission rather than regrets of commission. And so it means go out and live your life and take chances and do things that are scary, because in the end, you will probably regret the things you did not do than the things that you did do and failed at.
Nice.
I like that.
That was good.
I like that. Real quick, Dave, you weren't in here. Kill, marry, do. Dairy, corn, and weed.
Weed, not wheat. Weed.
Do, marry, kill.
Do, marry, kill. What are you going to be?
Well, invest in, be CEO of, or shut their business down.
I'd probably shut down weed. I'd probably
Invest in and be the CEO of.
and what were the other two options?
Corn,
Yeah,
dairy.
corn and dairy. I'd probably invest in dairy and CEO corn.
There you
That's
go.
what mine was. Nice.
You're both wrong.
Okay.
No. No, it's been a pleasure, Dwayne, for you jumping on the podcast. How can people find you on Twitter?
DFaber84.
And how can they find you online?
Dwayne Faber. Dwayne with a DW.
All right.
And soon to be DFaber84 on TikTok.
That's right. We will get that hopping.
There we go.
Awesome. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
So
awesome. What do you say, Corey, to the listeners?
Crack a Busch Light. You deserve it.